We're at the point now where a single press release really shows exactly what's going on in the market today. What is holding stocks up? That was today's announcement that OpenAI is getting a $100 billion investment from Nvidia. What are they going to do with that? They're going to buy Nvidia chips and build out AI factories. This circle of AI investments is absolutely crazy, and it's holding up a ton of companies in the market. Oracle stock has jumped this year because they signed a massive $300 billion deal with OpenAI. So the question is, what happens if OpenAI can't pay all these bills? The Nvidia investment is a huge number, but we still don't have revenue or profits that indicate that there's actually going to be any payback on any of this. So I want to go through exactly what we found out from this Nvidia and OpenAI deal, what we maybe should look for in the future, because OpenAI today is planning on burning about $130 billion over the next few years to build out AI tools, to build out AI infrastructure, but we don't know what actual business there is going to be behind that. Eventually, there has to be a business return on investment behind all these hundreds of billions of dollars going into the ground to build GPUs, to build AI data centers. I just don't know if we are there yet, but let's dig into it. My name is Travis Hoium. Thanks for watching Asymmetric Investing. Please subscribe here on YouTube for all my content, and thanks to this video sponsor, The Motley Fool. If you go to fool.com/ASYM, they'll give you their top 10 stocks to buy right now. Let's start with the announcement, and this one comes from OpenAI itself. OpenAI and Nvidia announced strategic partnership to deploy 10 gigawatts of Nvidia systems. Now, Nvidia intends to invest $100 billion in OpenAI progressively as each one of these gigawatts is deployed. The interesting thing here is they are not using GPUs. They're not using like the number of Blackwell chips or whatever, Rubins, whatever they're going to be buying. They're using power. And a gigawatt is a unit of power. So they're going to have to build data centers, and the constraint around those data centers is going to be power. So just something to note as we go forward, because these are really big numbers. A 10 gigawatt data center is several nuclear power plants, just to put those numbers into context. So this is a strategic partnership to deploy at least 10 gigawatts of NVIDIA systems in next generation AI infrastructure to train and run its next generation models to get to super intelligence. Super intelligence is important for OpenAI because that's when they basically get out from under the thumb of Microsoft. So we'll see exactly if they can get to that point. Super intelligence is when these AI systems are supposed to get smarter on their own. So NVIDIA is going to invest this $100 billion, and then OpenAI is going to turn around and spend that $100 billion with NVIDIA. This is the part of the AI infrastructure build out that really makes me uncomfortable, because you see the same dynamic with a company like CoreWeave or some of these neo clouds, as they're called, where NVIDIA invests in them and then those companies turn around and buy NVIDIA chips. If we knew that there was an ROI on that, that would be a different story, but we don't necessarily know that there is. OpenAI right now does not make a profit. So the investment that NVIDIA is making is creating demand for NVIDIA's own chips. Is that sustainable? It's only sustainable if OpenAI is sustainable. So that's where this kind of becomes a house of cards built on top of OpenAI. Thanks to our friends at The Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/ASYM for the top 10 stocks to buy right now. The other part I thought was really notable is OpenAI is going to be working with NVIDIA as a preferred strategic compute and networking partner for its AI factory growth plans. So OpenAI clearly has ideas of not just building models and licensing them to other third-party cloud companies. They're building what they're calling AI factories. The other thing that I took from this was OpenAI has grown to over 700 million weekly active users. This number was actually disclosed early in August, and there was a lot of speculation that OpenAI had already passed 800 million users in September. That doesn't appear to be the case. So the growth rate for OpenAI's user base on ChatGPT doesn't appear to be going up the way that it was. I think it was up 4x in the year before, from August 2024 to August 2025. So where's that momentum going? It's likely that momentum is going to Alphabet. Gemini has taken a bunch of new users. They're also launching a lot of tools within Chrome. So that's really likely where that growth is. But this is a massive investment and a massive risk from NVIDIA investing in a startup that does not have a sustainable business model. I think this can't be overstated. And this is what ultimately I'm staying out of a lot of these companies, that I think there could potentially be a bubble being formed. A lot of this investment makes sense today, But if you pull out one of these legs, if you say, you know what, OpenAI pulls back this spending, maybe they only spend $10 billion, they only build a gigawatt worth of these data centers. Maybe ChatGPT loses users. Then all these things start to fall apart. That's what ultimately makes me really uncomfortable with stocks like Nvidia, Oracle, even Microsoft to an extent. But something to keep an eye on as an investor, because with all this investment, with hundreds of billions of dollars being invested, we eventually need to see a return on that investment. And I don't know that we're seeing it from these companies that are making massive announcements today. They're all built on speculative future growth that we don't know if it's necessarily going to be there. That's exactly what we saw in the late 1990s. That's what bubbles are built on. So let me know what you think about this deal between OpenAI and Nvidia. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe to Asymmetric Investing. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you here next time.